Before we dive in, it's crucial to state that this video is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have seen in this presentation. Think about the last time you were in a crowded room, a coffee shop, a movie theater, a lecture hall. Pick 4 other people in that room. Any 4. Statistically, one of you is currently right now dealing with a mental health condition. Not at some point in your life. This year, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, that's over 57 million American adults. That's more than the entire populations of Texas and Florida combined. This isn't a fringe issue. It's a silent epidemic that's humming just beneath the surface of our everyday lives. We see the headlines. We hear the statistics. But the question that truly matters, the one that keeps us up at night, is why? Why here, in one of the most prosperous nations on earth, does it feel like so many of us are struggling just to keep our heads above water? For decades, we've been told a simple story. Mental illness is a chemical imbalance, a glitch in the brain's hardware, a personal problem to be solved with a pill or a therapy session. And while medication and therapy are life-saving tools for millions, they don't answer the bigger question. They don't explain the scale of the problem. They don't explain why the numbers keep going up. What if I told you that for many, the anxiety, the depression, the burnout isn't a malfunction? What if it's a perfectly rational response to an increasingly irrational environment? What if your anxiety isn't a sign that you're broken, but a sign that you're paying attention? This video is not another list of symptoms or a lecture on deep breathing. We are going on a deep dive to uncover the hidden architecture of our national anxiety. We're going to expose the powerful, often invisible forces in our society that are putting an unprecedented strain on our mental well-being. By the end of this journey, you won't just understand the 1 in 5 statistic. You'll have a powerful new lens to understand your own life, your own struggles, and a concrete roadmap for how to build mental resilience in a world that seems designed to break it. Imagine a fish in a fishbowl. The fish is sick. It's lethargic, its scales are dull. So you take the fish out. You give it fish medication. You teach it fish therapy. You tell it to develop a more positive fish mindset. You put it back in the bowl and it gets sick again. You might do this over and over, focusing entirely on fixing the fish. But you never once stop to test the water. You never realize the water is toxic. For the last 50 years, our approach to mental health in America has been almost entirely focused on fixing the fish. We diagnose the individual. We treat the individual. We tell the individual to be more resilient. But we have largely ignored the water. We have ignored the environment, the economic, social, and technological currents that we are all swimming in every single day. So let's test the water. Let's start with the first and perhaps most relentless pressure shaping our lives. The economic pressure cooker. Think about the American dream as it was sold to our parents or grandparents. It was a simple formula. Work hard at one company for 40 years, get a pension, buy a house, raise a family, retire comfortably. That formula is, for most people under the age of 50, a complete fantasy. That stability has been systematically dismantled. We've replaced the career ladder with the gig economy treadmill. The promise of a pension has been swapped for a 401k that's subject to the wild whims of the stock market. The result is a state of profound, chronic economic instability. It's the low-grade hum of anxiety that comes from knowing you're always just one bad month, one unexpected car repair, one medical bill, one layoff, away from financial crisis. This isn't a feeling. It's a mathematical reality. A 2023 Federal Reserve report found that nearly 40% of American adults wouldn't be able to cover a surprise $400 expense with cash. $400. That's not a catastrophe. That's a new set of tires. This constant, background-level precarity does something insidious to our brains. Our nervous systems were not designed for this. The human stress response, the famous fight-or-flight system, was built for acute, short-term threats. A lion appears, you get a surge of cortisol and adrenaline, you either escape or you don't, and then the event is over. Your body returns to a state of rest. But what happens when the lion isn't a predator you can see? What if the lion is student loan debt that follows you for decades? What if it's the ever-present threat of your rent increasing by 30% next year? What if it's the knowledge that your job could be automated or outsourced tomorrow? The threat never goes away. So the stress response never turns off. Your body is perpetually flooded with cortisol, and the long-term effects of that are devastating. Chronic cortisol exposure is directly linked to anxiety disorders, depression, memory problems, weight gain, and a weakened immune system. We are, quite literally, being marinated in the hormones of stress. And then we have the audacity to wonder why we feel anxious and depressed. This is compounded by the rise of what's called hustle culture, the glorification of burnout, the idea that if you aren't monetizing your hobbies, working a side gig, and grinding 24/7, you are lazy. The pressure isn't just to survive anymore. It's to perform success at all times. Social media becomes a highlight reel of everyone else's perceived triumphs, making our own quiet struggles feel like personal failures. We see the vacation, not the credit card debt that paid for it. We see the promotion, not the 80-hour work weeks that led to it. This culture creates an impossible standard. It whispers a toxic lie in our ear. If you're struggling, it's your fault. You're not working hard enough. You're not positive enough. You're not good enough. It takes a systemic economic problem and reframes it as an individual moral failing. And let's talk about debt. The average student loan debt in the United States is over $37,000. For many, it's a six-figure burden. This is a weight that shapes every major life decision. It dictates whether you can afford to move out of your parents' house, whether you can take a lower-paying job you're passionate about, whether you can afford to get married or have children, or even afford the therapy you need to cope with the stress the debt is causing. It is a mortgage on a future you haven't even lived yet. When you combine this debt with the skyrocketing costs of housing, healthcare, and education, you get a generation of people who are playing a game that feels rigged. They are doing everything they were told was right. They got the degree, they got the job, but the goalposts keep moving further and further away. This isn't just about money. It's about autonomy. It's about the feeling of control over your own life. When you feel trapped by economic forces far bigger than you, when your future feels dictated not by your choices, but by your monthly payments, it creates a profound sense of helplessness. And helplessness, as psychologists will tell you, is one of the primary ingredients in the recipe for depression. So when we talk about the 1 in 5 Americans with a mental health condition, we are not talking about 1 in 5 people with faulty brain chemistry. We are talking about 1 in 5 people swimming in toxic water. We are talking about a population worn down by a relentless systemic economic pressure that creates the perfect breeding ground for anxiety and despair. We are trying to fix the fish while the water itself is the problem. But this economic pressure is just one piece of the puzzle. It's the foundation. But built on top of it are two other powerful forces that are transforming our social lives and even rewiring our brains. And the second one might be the one you feel most acutely every single day, without even realizing its true cost. That first force is what sociologists call the Great Unraveling. It's the quiet, almost invisible collapse of the very thing that used to hold our society and our sanity together, genuine real-world community. To understand its power, we have to travel back in time, not that far, just to the world of our grandparents. Picture a typical American town in, say, 1965. What did you do after work? Maybe you went to your weekly bowling league. You weren't just a guy who worked at the factory. You were the anchor for the Pin Pals. On Tuesdays, maybe you went to a union meeting or a VFW hall. On weekends, there was the church potluck, the neighborhood barbecue, the bridge club. These weren't just activities, they were institutions. They were the third places, not home, not work, where life happened, where you built trust with people who weren't your family, but who might as well have been. The people you could ask to watch your kids in an emergency, the people who'd help you move a couch for a six-pack, the people who would just show up with a casserole if they heard you were having a tough time. This was the social fabric of America. It was dense, it was strong, and it was woven into the daily lives of millions. It provided a safety net that was far more powerful than any government program because it was made of human connection. It gave people a sense of belonging, a shared identity, and a purpose outside of clocking in and out. You weren't just an individual, you were part of something. Now fast forward to today. Where did it all go? When was the last time you heard of someone starting a bowling league? When was the last time your entire neighborhood got together for a block party, unprompted? For most of us, those third places have vanished. The VFW halls are closing. The union halls are empty. The church pews are half full. We replaced the front porch where you chat with neighbors with the backyard deck, hidden behind a 6-foot privacy fence. We traded the town square for the strip mall. So what happened? It wasn't one single event, but a slow creeping cascade of changes. First, we physically redesigned our world for isolation. After World War II, we fell in love with the suburb. We traded dense, walkable towns for sprawling subdivisions where the only way to get anywhere is by car. Your neighbors were no longer people you bumped into on the way to the market. They were just the houses you drove past on your way to the garage. The very architecture of our lives began to push us apart. Then came the economic pressure. The era of the single-income family faded. Suddenly, both partners were working, often longer hours with longer commutes. By the time you get home, make dinner, and deal with the kids, the idea of going out to a club meeting seems exhausting, impossible. Free time became a precious commodity, something to be hoarded for recovery, not spent on community building. We became too tired to connect. The hustle culture told us that any time not spent working or optimizing ourselves was time wasted. And finally, the great disruptor, technology. It started innocently with television. People stopped sitting on their front porches and started gathering around the glowing box in the living room. Entertainment became a private, passive experience instead of a public, active one. Then came the internet and later the smartphone. This was the final nail in the coffin of the old community. Why go to a town hall meeting when you can argue with strangers on Twitter? Why join a book club when you can scroll through TikTok? We found a substitute for connection that was infinitely more convenient, but infinitely less nourishing. And this brings us to the devastating link between this great unraveling and the crisis in our mental health. Humans are not built for isolation. For 99% of our evolutionary history, we lived in small, tightly knit tribes. Being part of a group was not a lifestyle choice. It was a survival strategy. Your brain is hardwired to see social isolation as a mortal threat. When you are alone, your brain's threat detection system, the amygdala, goes on high alert. It starts scanning for danger everywhere. This is the biological root of social anxiety. It's an ancient alarm bell, screaming that you've been separated from the tribe and are now vulnerable. In the past, that dense social fabric was the ultimate buffer against stress. If you lost your job, your bowling buddies would buy you a beer, give you a pep talk, and maybe even know someone who was hiring. If you were going through a painful breakup, your friends from the church group would bring you food and just sit with you. This support didn't just feel good. It was a powerful psychological medicine. It told your nervous system, you are safe. You are not alone. We will get through this together. Without that buffer, every single setback in life hits us with its full unblunted force. A layoff isn't just a financial problem. It's an existential crisis. A health scare isn't just a medical issue. It's a terrifying journey you have to navigate alone. We are facing the normal hardships of life without our armor. We've become a nation of exposed nerves. And here's the cruel paradox of our modern age. We've never been more connected. We have hundreds, even thousands of friends on social media. We can talk to anyone, anywhere, at any time. But this is the illusion of connection. It's a cheap counterfeit of the real thing. It's the difference between eating a nutritious meal and eating a bag of candy. The candy gives you a quick rush, a spike of sugar, but it leaves you empty and ultimately sick. Online interactions are what sociologists call weak ties. They lack the trust, reciprocity, and shared vulnerability of real-world strong ties. A like on your post is not the same as a hand on your shoulder. A sympathetic comment from a stranger is not the same as a friend looking you in the eyes and saying, "I've been there." We are drowning in a sea of shallow connections while dying of thirst for genuine belonging. This profound, bone-deep loneliness, this sense of being untethered in a world that feels increasingly chaotic, is the fertile ground in which anxiety and depression take root. It has created a silent epidemic of isolation that touches every corner of our country. But this collapse of community is only the first force. It's the stage upon which a second, far more insidious drama is played out every single day. This second force takes the isolation we already feel and injects it with a powerful, addictive, and mentally destabilizing drug. It's the force that was teased earlier, the one that you feel most acutely. It's an engine designed to capture your attention, monetize your anxiety, and fundamentally reshape how you see yourself and the world. It's the ghost in the machine of modern life, and it is a master of making us miserable. So how does this ghost operate? It's not with chains and moans, but with code and algorithms, meticulously crafted by some of the brightest minds of our generation. Its primary weapon is a device you're likely holding in your hand right now, or have within arm's reach. It's a digital slot machine, and the jackpot is your own brain chemistry. Think about it. A slot machine in Las Vegas is addictive for one simple reason: intermittent variable rewards. You pull the lever, you don't know if you'll win or lose. Most of the time you lose, but sometimes you win. And that unpredictability, that maybe this time feeling, floods your brain with dopamine, the neurotransmitter of anticipation and reward. It's a powerful, intoxicating chemical cocktail, and it keeps you pulling that lever again and again and again. Now look at your phone. You pull it out of your pocket. You pull down to refresh your feed. You don't know what you'll see. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's a boring ad. But maybe it's a like on your photo. Maybe it's a funny meme. Maybe it's an important email, a message from a friend, a shocking piece of news. You pull to refresh. Nothing. You pull again. Jackpot. A little red notification dot. A tiny burst of dopamine. Feels good. So you do it again. This is not an accident. This is the fundamental design principle of the modern attention economy. Every notification, every like, every endless scroll is a pull of the lever. The architects of these platforms understood our neural wiring better than we did. They built a system that hijacks the same reward pathways that evolved to help us find food and mates, and aimed them squarely at keeping our eyeballs glued to a screen. The result is a low-grade, constant state of anxious anticipation. Ever wonder why you feel a phantom buzz in your pocket, even when your phone isn't there? That's your brain, conditioned by the slot machine, begging for another pull of the lever. It's a manufactured addiction, and the side effect isn't just lost time. It's a fraying of our mental peace. But the ghost in the machine is more insidious than a simple slot machine. It doesn't just manipulate what you do, it manipulates how you feel about yourself. It does this through the second of its great weapons, the curated reality of social comparison. For hundreds of thousands of years, human beings lived in small, tightly knit tribes of maybe 150 people. Our social brains evolved in that context. We compared ourselves to our neighbors, our siblings, the best hunter in the village. It was a limited, manageable pool of comparison. Today, through the window of your screen, you are comparing yourself not to 150 people, but to potentially billions. And you are not comparing your real life to their real life. You are comparing your behind-the-scenes footage, your messy apartment, your morning anxieties, your day-to-day struggles, to everyone else's highlight reel. You're sitting on your couch in your sweatpants, feeling a bit lonely, and you scroll past someone's perfectly filtered engagement photos. You're worried about paying your bills, and you see a former classmate's post about their promotion and new corner office. You're having a bad hair day, and you're inundated with images of influencers on yachts in the Mediterranean, their bodies and lives seemingly flawless. Your logical brain might know it's a performance. It might know those photos are staged, filtered, and represent only the peak 0.1% of that person's existence. But your emotional, primitive brain doesn't. It just registers a constant, crushing stream of evidence that you are not good enough. Not rich enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough, not happy enough. It's an unwinnable game, because the finish line is always moving, and the competition is the curated perfection of the entire world. This constant social comparison is a direct pipeline to feelings of inadequacy, envy, and depression. It's a system designed to make you feel less than, because a person who feels less than is a fantastic consumer, always chasing the next product, the next diet, the next thing that might close the gap between their reality and the illusion on the screen. Then comes the third mechanism, the algorithm's addiction to outrage. The code that governs your newsfeed has one single, solitary goal: engagement. It wants to keep you on the platform for as long as possible. And its data has shown unequivocally that one of the most engaging human emotions is anger. Outrage gets clicks. Fear gets shares. Division drives comments. So, the algorithm learns to feed you a very specific diet. It scours the world for the most infuriating political take, the most terrifying news story, the most heartbreaking injustice, and it shoves it in your face. It creates filter bubbles where your worst fears about the other side are constantly confirmed. It amplifies the most extreme voices because moderate, nuanced opinions are boring. They don't generate engagement. The result is a catastrophically skewed perception of reality. You are being force-fed a constant stream of the world's worst moments, cherry-picked for their emotional impact. Your brain, which evolved a negativity bias to keep you safe from predators, interprets this digital onslaught as a real and present danger. It concludes that the world is a more hostile, polarized, and hopeless place than it actually is. This constant bath of cortisol, the stress hormone, leads to chronic anxiety, a sense of learned helplessness, and a pervasive feeling of doom. The system doesn't care about your well-being. It profits from your panic. And as this machine grinds away, it inflicts another, more subtle kind of damage. It shatters our ability to focus. The constant pings, the endless notifications, the temptation to just check one thing. It's a relentless assault on our attention. Deep thought, the kind necessary for reading a book, solving a complex problem, or even having a meaningful conversation, requires long, uninterrupted stretches of concentration. The modern digital environment is the antithesis of this. It trains our brains to crave constant novelty and to be intolerant of boredom. We now live in a state of continuous partial attention. We're at dinner with our family, but we're also half present in a group chat. We're trying to work, but we're also monitoring 3 social media feeds. Our focus is fractured into 1,000 tiny pieces. This isn't just inefficient, it's mentally exhausting. It creates a feeling of being perpetually busy but never truly productive, of being overwhelmed by a sea of information we can never fully process. This cognitive fragmentation is a major, and often overlooked driver of modern stress. Your attention is the most valuable currency of the 21st century, and every app on your phone is in a ruthless war to steal it from you, leaving you with the cognitive equivalent of shrapnel. Finally, all of this culminates in the great paradox of our age. We are more connected than any humans in history, and yet we are lonelier than ever. The ghost in the machine has sold us a counterfeit version of community. It has replaced deep, vulnerable face-to-face connection with shallow, performative, asynchronous interaction. A like is not empathy. Comment is not a conversation. A follower is not a friend. The crucial, subtle elements of true human bonding. Shared vulnerability, mutual eye contact, the warmth of a hug, the cadence of a shared laugh. These things don't transmit through fiber optic cables. They require presence. They require putting the screen down. We are trading the profound nourishment of genuine relationships for the empty calories of online validation. We spend hours curating a digital self, a personal brand, hoping to attract connection, while the real, messy, imperfect self sits alone in a room scrolling. This profound disconnect between our innate, biological need for true belonging and the superficial connection the digital world offers is a recipe for deep, aching loneliness. It's the feeling of being in a crowded room shouting, but with no one truly hearing you. This isn't a personal failing. It's not your fault. It is the predictable, even intentional outcome of a system that has been built around us. A system that turns our own psychology against us, not out of malice, but out of a cold, calculating pursuit of engagement and profit. This digital architecture is just one layer of the story, however, because while it has been reshaping our minds from the outside in, our very own bodies and the physical world we inhabit have been waging a parallel war on our mental health. It's a war fought not with weapons, but with forks and knives. A conflict waged in the silent, dark passages of our own intestines. For decades, we treated the mind as if it were a disembodied entity, a ghost in the machine, separate from the messy biological reality of the body. We now know that was a catastrophic mistake. The highway of information between your gut and your brain is one of the busiest, most critical infrastructures in your entire body. And for millions of Americans, that highway is gridlocked, crumbling, and on fire. You have, in a very real sense, a second brain in your gut. It's called the enteric nervous system, a complex web of over 100 million neurons, more than are in your spinal cord, lining your gastrointestinal tract. This gut brain doesn't ponder philosophy, but it's responsible for a huge portion of your mood. Consider serotonin, the famous feel-good neurotransmitter that antidepressants target. An astonishing 95% of your body's serotonin is produced and stored in your gut, not your brain. Its production is heavily influenced by the trillions of bacteria living there, your microbiome. Think of your microbiome as an internal rainforest, a delicate ecosystem of beneficial and harmful bacteria. A healthy, diverse rainforest keeps you in balance. It helps produce vitamins, regulate your immune system, and, crucially, manufacture the very neurochemicals that keep you stable and happy. But the modern American diet is not a gentle rain. It's a chemical spill followed by a clear-cutting operation. The standard American diet, fittingly abbreviated as SAD, is an evolutionary mismatch of epic proportions. Our bodies evolved over millennia on a diet of whole foods, plants, animals, fiber. Our gut bacteria are adapted to this. What we feed them now is an alien substance. We feed them hyperpalatable, ultra-processed food-like products, engineered in a lab to bypass our body's natural satiety signals. These products are packed with refined sugars, industrial seed oils, and a cocktail of chemical additives, while being stripped of the one thing our good gut bacteria crave: fiber. When you eat this way, you are systematically starving your allies and feeding the enemy. The bad bacteria, which thrive on sugar, begin to take over. They create a state of dysbiosis, an imbalance in your internal ecosystem. This leads to chronic, low-grade inflammation. And this isn't just the inflammation that makes your joints ache. It's neuroinflammation. The fire in your gut spreads, crossing the blood-brain barrier and setting your mind ablaze. Studies have now directly linked this diet-driven inflammation to higher rates of depression and anxiety. We're not just eating food that's devoid of nutrients. We are eating food that is actively anti-nutrient, that wages a chemical war on the very organs responsible for our sanity. But it's not just what we put into our bodies, it's what we fail to do with them. We are persistence hunters by design. Our biology is a masterpiece of endurance, sculpted by millions of years of walking, running, climbing, and carrying. Our brains are not wired to function optimally while sitting still in a climate-controlled box for 10 hours a day. They are wired to function optimally while moving. When you exercise, you are not just burning calories. You are performing a profound act of neurochemical alchemy. Your body releases endorphins, nature's own opioids, which reduce pain and boost pleasure. Your muscles secrete chemicals that travel to the brain and act as powerful antidepressants. Most importantly, physical activity stimulates the production of something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. You can think of BDNF as fertilizer for your brain. It helps grow new neurons, strengthens existing ones, and protects them from the corrosive effects of stress. A sedentary life, therefore, is a brain-starved life. When we sit all day, we are depriving our minds of the very chemical cocktail they need to be resilient, to be regulated, to be healthy. The anxiety that hums just below the surface, the fog that won't seem to lift. For many, this isn't a mysterious psychological ailment. It is the predictable biological consequence of a body held in captivity, a body screaming for the movement it was designed for. Our bodies, however, don't exist in a vacuum. They exist in the physical world we have built around them. And the world we've built in modern America is, in many ways, an architecture of isolation. Look at our communities. We traded walkable towns with their public squares and corner stores for sprawling car-dependent suburbs. We designed a landscape of highways, strip malls, and single-family homes with high fences, a world where the most common public space is a parking lot. Sociologists call this the loss of the third place. The first place is home. The second place is work. The third place is the anchor of community life, the coffee shop, the public library, the park, the barber shop, where people gather, interact, and build the informal social bonds that are the bedrock of human well-being. These places are disappearing. We now drive from the garage of our private home to the parking garage of our siloed workplace, interacting with very few people in between. We have engineered spontaneous human connection right out of our daily lives. This physical separation creates a profound sense of loneliness, a feeling of being adrift that no amount of digital connection can truly fix. We are social animals living in an antisocial environment, and our minds are paying the price. This toxic triad, a diet that inflames the brain, a lifestyle that starves it of movement, and an environment that isolates it from others, is made exponentially worse by one final pervasive assault: the war on sleep. Sleep is not a luxury, it is a non-negotiable biological necessity. It's the brain's housekeeping service. While you sleep, your brain consolidates memories, processes emotions from the day, and critically flushes out metabolic waste products that build up during waking hours. Chronic sleep deprivation, which now affects more than a third of American adults, is like letting the trash pile up in your mind indefinitely. It cripples the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for emotional regulation and rational decision-making. Simultaneously, it sends your amygdala, the brain's fear and anxiety center, into overdrive. The result is a mind that is both emotionally volatile and incapable of calming itself down. It's a recipe for chronic anxiety, and our modern world seems custom-built to destroy our sleep, from the blue light of the screens we stare at until midnight, to the caffeine we use to mask our exhaustion, to the hustle culture that glorifies burnout and treats sleep as a sign of weakness. We have fundamentally re-engineered our food, our cities, our bodies, and even our relationship with night and day. We've created a perfect biological storm that puts the human brain under a level of physiological stress it was never designed to handle. But this didn't happen by accident. This breakdown of our physical well-being is not just an unfortunate side effect of modern life. It's a business model. And to truly understand why we are sick, we have to follow the money and see how the very economic system we live in not only encourages this collapse, but actively profits from our suffering. The architecture of our modern economy is built on a very simple, yet terrifyingly effective principle: the harvesting of human attention. Your attention is the most valuable commodity in the 21st century. It is the new oil. And vast, multi-trillion-dollar industries have been engineered with the singular goal of capturing and holding it for as long as possible. Think about the apps on your phone, the websites you visit, the streaming services you binge. The vast majority of them are free to use. But they aren't free. There's a famous saying in Silicon Valley: if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Your eyeballs, your time, your focus, that's what's being sold to the highest bidder. To achieve this, these platforms are designed to be addictive. Not in a metaphorical sense, but in a literal neurological sense. Features like the infinite scroll, auto-playing videos, and the constant barrage of notifications are not there for your convenience. They are precision-engineered tools designed to exploit the reward pathways in your brain. Every like, every new comment, every red notification bubble triggers a small release of dopamine, the same neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, reward, and, yes, addiction. It creates a compulsion loop. You pull to refresh, you get a small reward, and you're conditioned to do it again. And again. And again. The psychological cost of this is staggering. Our ability to concentrate on a single task for a sustained period, what we call deep work, is being systematically dismantled. Our attention is fragmented into 1,000 tiny pieces, scattered across a dozen different feeds and notifications. This creates a persistent, low-grade hum of anxiety, a feeling that we should be looking at something else, that we might be missing out. We are living in a state of continuous partial attention, never fully present in our own lives because a part of our brain is always waiting for the next digital ping. This isn't just a distraction. It's a fundamental rewiring of our cognitive functions, leaving us feeling scattered, overwhelmed, and mentally exhausted before the day has even truly begun. But capturing our attention is only step one. Step two is monetizing it. And how is that done? Primarily through advertising. But this isn't the advertising of your grandparents' generation. Modern advertising, supercharged by the data these platforms collect on us, has become a psychological weapon. It no longer just sells a product. It sells an escape from an anxiety that it simultaneously creates. The entire business model is predicated on manufacturing discontent. It works by subtly, or not so subtly, convincing you that you are not enough. Your life isn't exciting enough, your body isn't thin enough, your skin isn't clear enough, your house isn't new enough. It identifies an insecurity, amplifies it, and then presents a product as the magic solution. Social media pours gasoline on this fire. We are relentlessly exposed to the highlight reels of everyone else's lives, a curated reality of perfect vacations, flawless relationships, and effortless success. Our brains, which evolved in small tribes where social comparison was a localized and manageable process, are not equipped to handle a constant, global comparison to millions of other people. We are trapped in an unwinnable game, comparing our messy behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's perfectly edited public performance. This constant social comparison is a direct pipeline to feelings of inadequacy, envy, anxiety, and depression. The system profits from our insecurity. The more we feel we are lacking, the more we are driven to consume, hoping that the next purchase will be the one that finally fills the void. This economic pressure extends far beyond our screens. It has infected our entire culture of work. We live in the age of hustle culture, a pervasive ideology that glorifies relentless productivity as the ultimate virtue. The grind is lionized. We're told to wake up at 5 a.m. to monetize our hobbies, to have a side hustle on top of our main hustle. Rest is framed as a weakness, a luxury for the unambitious. The message is clear. Your value as a human being is directly proportional to your economic output. You are not a person, you are a productivity unit. The result of this mentality is a silent epidemic of burnout. Burnout is not just feeling tired. It's a state of profound emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged and excessive stress. It's a feeling of cynicism and detachment from your work, a sense that nothing you do matters. It's a collapse of the human spirit under the weight of impossible demands. And with the rise of remote work and the smartphone, the boundaries between work and life have been completely obliterated. The office is now in our pocket, buzzing with emails and messages at all hours. We are expected to be perpetually available, always on. This isn't a system designed for human flourishing. It's a system designed to extract the maximum amount of labor before a person inevitably breaks down. And for a growing number of Americans, even this relentless hustle doesn't provide basic security. The rise of the gig economy was sold to us as a story of freedom and flexibility. Be your own boss. Set your own hours. But for millions, the reality is a state of constant financial precarity. Driving for a rideshare app, delivering food, or working as a freelancer often means no guaranteed income, no health insurance, no retirement benefits, no paid sick leave. It means living with a constant, gnawing uncertainty about the future. Will I make rent this month? What happens if I get sick? How will I ever afford to retire? This financial instability is one of the most potent and chronic stressors a person can experience. It creates a baseline of anxiety that permeates every aspect of life. It frays relationships, destroys sleep, and makes long-term planning impossible. It atomizes the workforce, isolating individuals and making it harder to build the communities and support networks that are so vital for mental well-being. We have created an economy that places the entire burden of risk onto the shoulders of the individual, while the corporations at the top reap the rewards. So we are left with a populace that is neurologically hijacked, emotionally insecure, physically exhausted, and financially terrified. This is not an accident. This is not a bug in the system. It is the system functioning exactly as it was designed to. It's a system that prioritizes profit growth above all else, above community, above stability, and above the mental health of its citizens. It creates the very conditions of isolation, stress, and inadequacy that leave us vulnerable to mental illness. And what happens when this relentless economic pressure finally breaks us? When our minds and bodies can't take anymore? The system has an answer for that too. A very, very profitable answer. It sells us the cure for the disease it created. Welcome to the mental health industrial complex, an ecosystem worth over $200 billion in the United States alone. It's a market, and like any market, its primary goal isn't necessarily your well-being. It's growth. And the raw material for that growth? Our own distress. Let's be clear. This isn't some shadowy conspiracy. It's just business. It's the logical outcome of applying market principles to human suffering. And it began with a revolution. Not a revolution in understanding the human mind, but a revolution in marketing. For much of the 20th century, severe mental illness was addressed behind the high walls of institutions, while milder forms of anxiety and depression were things you just dealt with. Therapy was an option, but it was often a long, expensive, and stigmatized process. Then, in the late 1980s, a new generation of drugs arrived. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs. You know them by names like Prozac, Zoloft, and Paxil. They were presented as a miracle, a magic bullet, a way to chemically rebalance a brain that had gone haywire. The narrative was simple, clean, and profoundly appealing. Your depression isn't a weakness. It's not a character flaw. It's a chemical imbalance. It's a disease like diabetes. And just like a diabetic takes insulin, you can take this pill. Suddenly, mental health wasn't so messy anymore. Could be diagnosed, categorized, and most importantly, treated with a simple daily prescription. This was a paradigm shift. And pharmaceutical companies saw the opportunity of a lifetime. They did something that is still illegal in almost every other developed country on Earth. They started advertising these powerful mind-altering drugs directly to you, the consumer. Turn on your television, and you'd see commercials filled with sad, gray-tinted people, suddenly bursting into full, vibrant color after taking a pill. The message was inescapable. Feeling down? Overwhelmed? Worried all the time? Don't just suffer through it. There's a name for what you have, and there's a product that can fix it. Ask your doctor if Cymbalta is right for you. This campaign was genius. It did two things simultaneously. First, it destigmatized seeking help, which was genuinely a good thing. But second, it medicalized the entire spectrum of normal human emotion. The unavoidable pain of existence, grief, stress, sadness, worry, was reframed as a treatable disorder. It created a nation of self-diagnosers, walking into their doctor's office not just with a list of symptoms, but with a specific brand name in mind. And the healthcare system, already strained and incentivized for speed, was perfectly happy to oblige. Think about it from the perspective of an insurance company. What's more cost-effective? Approving 52 hours of intensive one-on-one psychotherapy for a patient over the course of a year? Or approving a 12-month supply of a generic antidepressant and 4 15-minute medication checkup appointments? It's not even a contest. The pill is always cheaper. The system is built for the prescription pad. It is the path of least resistance for everyone involved. The patient gets a quick, tangible solution. The insurance company saves money. The pharmaceutical company makes a profit. And the doctor, often a general practitioner with a packed waiting room and only 10 minutes to spare, can provide some form of help in the tiny window they have. In fact, the vast majority of antidepressants in America are not prescribed by psychiatrists, the specialists in mental health. They are prescribed by primary care physicians. These are dedicated, hardworking doctors, but they are not trained psychotherapists. They don't have the time to unpack a patient's childhood trauma, their marital stress, or the soul-crushing despair of their dead-end job. They have time to listen to the symptoms, match them to a diagnosis in the manual, and write a prescription. They are good people forced to be cogs in a machine designed for efficiency, not for deep healing. Now, at this point, it is critical to say this medication can be a life-saving, life-changing tool. For people with severe, debilitating depression, bipolar disorder, or anxiety, these drugs can pull them back from the brink. They can provide the stability needed to even begin the hard work of therapy. The problem is not that the tool exists. The problem is that the system has made it the only tool that's readily available. It's the hammer, and our entire complex, nuanced inner world has become a nail. We are treating the smoke while the fire rages on. The prescription might dampen the anxiety, but it doesn't pay your student loans. It might lift the depression, but it doesn't fix your toxic workplace. It might quiet the panic, but it doesn't heal the profound loneliness that we'll discuss later. It's a chemical bandage on a wound that is often environmental, social, and spiritual. And what about the other option? Therapy, the actual process of talking through your problems, developing coping mechanisms, and restructuring the way your mind works. For the average American, it's a logistical and financial nightmare. First, you have to find a therapist who is accepting new patients. That alone can take weeks of unanswered phone calls and emails. Then you have to find one who is in-network with your insurance. This is a shrinking pool, as many therapists are opting out of the insurance system altogether because of the low reimbursement rates and crushing paperwork. If you do find one, you're still on the hook for copays and a deductible that can be thousands of dollars. If you can't find an in-network therapist, you're looking at paying out of pocket. We're talking $100, $200, sometimes $300 for a single 50-minute session. Who can afford that? Who can afford to spend $1,000 a month to get the help they need? It turns therapy, one of the most effective tools for long-term mental wellness, into a luxury good, accessible only to the affluent. This massive gap in care has created yet another market opportunity. The boom of mental health apps. BetterHelp, Talkspace, Cerebral. They flood our podcasts and social media feeds with ads promising affordable, convenient therapy at your fingertips. And while they have provided access for some, they are also part of the same industrial complex. They operate on a venture capital-fueled growth model, prioritizing user acquisition over clinical depth. Many have faced criticism for questionable labor practices with their therapists, data privacy concerns, and for providing a kind of therapy light that can't possibly address deep-seated issues. It's another product, another subscription, another piece of the puzzle that treats mental health not as a human right, but as a consumer category. So we are left in a devastating paradox. We live in a society that is uniquely skilled at creating the conditions for mental distress, the economic anxiety, the work-life imbalance, the pressure to perform. And when we inevitably break down under that pressure, that same society offers us a solution that is not designed to fix the root causes, because fixing the root causes isn't profitable. Instead, it offers a product designed to make our distress more manageable, to make us more productive, more functional workers and consumers, just medicated enough to keep participating in the very system that is breaking us. It's a perfect, self-perpetuating loop. The system creates the illness, then sells us the cure. But what if the problem runs even deeper than our economy and our healthcare? What if the sickness isn't just in our wallets or our clinics, but in our very homes and neighborhoods? What if the way we live, the way we connect or fail to connect with each other is the real source of the epidemic? What happened to the American community? It's a question that hangs in the air of our quiet cul-de-sacs and echoes down the empty sidewalks of our sprawling suburbs. To find the answer, we have to look back. Picture America in the decades after the Second World War. It wasn't a perfect time, not by any stretch, but there was a different texture to daily life. There was a sense of a shared project. People were joiners. They joined bowling leagues, bridge clubs, the PTA, the Elks Lodge, the League of Women Voters. They volunteered. They knew their neighbors not just to wave at but to borrow a cup of sugar from, to ask to watch the kids for an hour, to lean on when times got tough. Life was lived more publicly. Front porches were a feature, not a relic. Kids played in the street until the streetlights came on, their parents knowing that a dozen other pairs of eyes were casually keeping watch. There was a baseline of trust, an unspoken agreement that we're all in this together. This intricate web of relationships, this social fabric, is what sociologists call social capital. It's the value that comes from our social networks. It's the collective goodwill, the trust, and the cooperation that makes a community function. And for the last half-century, that capital has been in a free-fall. Political scientist Robert Putnam famously chronicled this decline in his book, Bowling Alone. The title itself is a powerful metaphor. Between the 1970s and the late 1990s, the number of Americans who bowled actually increased, but the number of people bowling in organized leagues plummeted. More people were rolling strikes, but they were doing it by themselves or with a few close friends. The social, communal aspect of the activity had evaporated. And that trend wasn't just in bowling alleys. It was happening everywhere. In PTA meetings, in church attendance, in union halls, even in how often we have friends over for dinner. The threads that once wove us together into a cohesive social tapestry were unraveling, one by one. So what happened? What tore the fabric? It wasn't one single event, but a cascade of massive societal shifts that fundamentally re-engineered American life. First, we redesigned our world for isolation. After the war, we fell in love with a dream. A single-family home, a patch of green grass, a car in the driveway. This led to the explosion of suburbia. But in our pursuit of private space, we inadvertently created an architecture of loneliness. We built communities around the automobile, not the human being. The corner store you could walk to was replaced by the strip mall you had to drive to. The town square was replaced by the enclosed shopping mall. We traded front porches, which faced the community, for private back decks, which face away from it. Spontaneous, casual encounters, the lifeblood of a community, became rare. You could go days without speaking to another person you weren't related to or employed by. The very layout of our lives began to enforce social distance, long before it was a public health mandate. Second, the economic ground shifted beneath our feet. The rise of the two-income household, born out of both economic necessity and a righteous push for equality, had an unintended side effect. Time. It's a finite resource. When both parents are working 40, 50, or 60 hours a week, and then commuting on top of that, the first things to be sacrificed are the time-consuming, often thankless tasks of community building. There's simply less energy for coaching Little League, volunteering at the bake sale, or attending that town hall meeting. It wasn't a moral failure. It was a mathematical one. The hours in the day simply ran out. The economic pressures to maintain a middle-class lifestyle began to crowd out the civic and social life that once defined it. And third, we privatized our leisure. Think about the evolution of entertainment. It started as a deeply communal activity. A town gathering, a live concert, a trip to the movie palace. Then came the radio, which brought the community into the living room. But the family still gathered around a single box to listen together. The television did the same. But then we got a second TV. And a third. Then came the VCR, the Walkman, the personal computer, the video game console, and finally the smartphone. Entertainment became a radically individualized experience. We no longer had to agree on what to watch or listen to. Each member of the family could retreat into their own digital world, with headphones on and a screen just inches from their face. The shared cultural campfire around which we all used to gather was extinguished, replaced by the cold blue glow of a million isolated screens. This great unraveling has had a devastating psychological cost. The U.S. Surgeon General has declared an epidemic of loneliness and social isolation, stating that its impact on our physical health is equivalent to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness isn't just a feeling of sadness, it's a biological stress signal. For millennia, being part of a tribe was essential for survival. Banishment was a death sentence. Our brains are hardwired to interpret social isolation as a profound threat, triggering a chronic stress response that wears down our bodies and our minds. It floods our system with cortisol, creates inflammation, and disrupts our sleep. We feel unsafe, on edge, and perpetually vigilant because on a primal level, our brain believes we are alone and vulnerable. We've lost not just our strong ties, our close friends and family, but also, crucially, our weak ties. These are the casual acquaintances that populate our daily lives. The barista who knows your order, the mail carrier you exchange pleasantries with, the other dog owners at the park. These relationships might seem trivial, but they are the bedrock of belonging. They provide a sense of rootedness, a low-stakes social connection that confirms we are part of a larger, functioning world. They are the gentle hum of human connection in the background of our lives. Today, with self-checkout lanes, online shopping, and remote work, it's possible to live for weeks with almost no week-tie interactions at all. The hum has gone silent, and this leads us to the great tragic paradox of our time. We are the most connected generation in human history, yet we are the loneliest. We have thousands of friends and followers online, a curated audience for our lives. We can broadcast our every thought and see the intimate details of people we've never met. But this digital connection is often a phantom limb. We can feel it, but it has no substance. It's a curated, performative, and often transactional form of interaction. It provides the illusion of community without the responsibilities, the messiness, or the genuine vulnerability that real relationships require. We scroll through an endless feed of human experience, yet we feel profoundly unseen. We hollowed out the real-world communities that once gave our lives meaning and context, and we've tried to fill the void with a digital echo. But the echo can't hold us when we're grieving. It can't bring over a casserole when we're sick. It can't look us in the eye and tell us we're going to be okay. This collapse of community has left a gaping hole at the center of American life. It's created a crisis not just of mental health, but of identity itself. For most of human history, your identity was forged by your community. You were the son of a blacksmith from a certain village, a member of a specific church or tribe. Your story was intertwined with the story of your people. But when that community fades away, when we become a nation of disconnected individuals, a new and terrifying question arises. If my community no longer tells me who I am, what does? The answer that modern America provides is both exhilarating and terrifying. You do. You decide who you are. Your identity is no longer something you inherit. It's something you must build, from the ground up. This is the great unstated project of modern American life. It's the shift from an identity of belonging to an identity of achievement. You are not born into a story. You are tasked with writing your own from scratch, with a blank page and a paralyzing number of options. This isn't just freedom. It's a command. Be unique. Be authentic. Be successful. Be happy. Be your best self. And prove it to everyone. Suddenly, life is no longer about fulfilling a role given to you by your community. It's a performance staged for an audience of everyone and no one all at once. The stage is your Instagram feed, your LinkedIn profile, your TikTok account. We have become the curators of our own personal museums, carefully selecting which artifacts of our lives to display. We post the scenic vacation, but not the credit card debt that paid for it. We post the promotion, but not the crippling anxiety that comes with the new responsibilities. We post the smiling couple photo, but not the silent, tense car ride home. This isn't just vanity. It's a desperate search for the validation that community once provided automatically. The likes, the comments, the shares, these have become the digital equivalent of a neighbor's nod of approval, a grandmother's praise, a community's respect. They are fleeting digital breadcrumbs telling us that the self we've constructed is a good one, that we're on the right track, that we matter. We are performing our identity, day in and day out, hoping the applause will convince not only the audience, but ourselves. This performance is fueled by a uniquely modern dilemma, the paradox of choice. We're told we can be anything, which sounds like a gift, but it often feels like a curse. When you can be a doctor, an artist, a software engineer, a carpenter, or a professional wanderer, the act of choosing one path becomes an act of killing off every other possible version of yourself. Every yes is 1,000 no's. This creates a constant, low-grade hum of anxiety in the background of our lives. Did I choose the right major? The right career? The right city? The right partner? The question isn't, am I living a good life? But, am I living the best possible life I could have chosen? It's a standard so impossibly high that it guarantees a feeling of failure. And we have an endless stream of evidence for how we're failing. Social media isn't just a stage for our own performance. It's a front-row seat to the highlight reels of millions of others. It presents us with a carefully edited, algorithmically perfected vision of the ideal self. The fitness influencer with an impossible physique tells us our body is a project we're failing at. The tech founder who sold their company for millions tells us our career is mediocre. The travel blogger posing in a Bali paradise tells us our life is painfully ordinary. Our rational minds know it's not real. We know it's filtered, sponsored, and curated. But our emotional primal brain, the part that governs our self-worth, doesn't care. Just sees a gap. A chasm between our messy, complicated, mundane reality and the polished fantasy on the screen. And in that gap, anxiety, depression, and shame begin to grow. Comparison becomes the thief of joy, and in the 21st century, the thief has a key to our house, lives in our pocket, and whispers in our ear from the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep. Into this void of identity and this pressure to perform, corporations have stepped in with a simple, seductive promise. We can sell you the person you want to be. Your identity is no longer about your character, your family, or your community. It's about your consumption habits. You are what you buy. You don't just buy a truck. You buy the identity of a rugged, tough, all-American man. You don't just buy a yoga mat and leggings. You buy the identity of a mindful, healthy, spiritual person. You don't just drink a craft beer. You signal that you're a connoisseur with sophisticated taste, not like the masses. Brands no longer sell products. They sell fragments of identity. They sell lifestyles. They sell belonging to a tribe of consumers. Think about it. Apple versus Android. Nike versus Adidas. Starbucks versus the local artisanal coffee shop. These aren't just consumer choices. They are declarations of self. They are the building blocks we use to construct the facade of who we are. And we've been taught that if we just buy the right combination of things, if we assemble the pieces perfectly, we will finally feel whole. We will finally become the person we're supposed to be. But an identity built on performance and consumption is an identity built on sand. It's incredibly fragile. What happens when the performance fails? What happens when you lose the high-status job that defined you? You're not just unemployed. Your very sense of self as a successful person shatters. What happens when the relationship you broadcast as #couplegoals ends? You're not just heartbroken. Your curated identity as a desirable partner is destroyed. What happens when you can no longer afford the lifestyle you've so carefully curated online? The shame is immense because the failure feels total. It's not an event that happened to you. It's a verdict on you. It's a fundamental indictment of the self you've spent years and a fortune trying to build. This constant, high-stakes project of self-creation is one of the most significant and least acknowledged drivers of our mental health crisis. It is a relentless, exhausting burden that we have placed on the individual. We have taken the stability of community-given identity and replaced it with the crushing weight of a self-made one. We are told to be the architects of our own souls, but we are given no blueprint, shoddy materials sold to us at a premium, and a crowd of critics watching our every move. The anxiety comes from the fear of building it wrong. The depression comes from the belief that we already have. We are running on a treadmill of self-improvement, constantly striving to close the gap between who we are and who we think we should be. We optimize our mornings, biohack our bodies, curate our feeds, and brand our personalities. We are working harder than ever, not just at our jobs, but at the very project of being a person. But what if, after all that work, after achieving the career, buying the products, and perfecting the performance, you still feel empty? What happens when you climb to the top of the ladder of the self you've built, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall the entire time? You've created the perfect character, but you've forgotten to write them a meaningful story. And it's in that silence, in that hollow space where a purpose should be, that an even deeper, more terrifying crisis begins to unfold. This is the existential vacuum, the fourth and final wall closing in on our mental well-being. We've talked about the biological hardware, the psychological software, and the social environment. But this is a crisis of the operating system itself, a crisis of meaning. For decades, the great promise of American life was a kind of liberation, a liberation from the rigid structures of the past. You were no longer defined by the town you were born in, the job your father had, or the faith of your ancestors. You were free to invent yourself, to choose your own path, to write your own destiny. But what we're now discovering is that while some of those old structures may have been confining, they also provided something essential, a pre-written story. They gave you a map, a compass, and a destination. They gave you a why. Today we have infinite freedom, but the map is blank. The compass just spins. We are handed a pen and a vast empty page and told, write something meaningful. It's a terrifyingly paralyzing proposition. The pressure isn't just to succeed anymore. It's to succeed in a way that is authentic, passionate, and world-changing. Your job isn't just a job. It's supposed to be your calling. Your hobby isn't just a hobby. It's supposed to be your side hustle, your personal brand. Your vacation isn't a break. It's a life-altering experience you must document and share. Every choice is loaded with the weight of defining your entire existence. This paradox of choice doesn't lead to fulfillment. It leads to a chronic, low-grade anxiety that you're always making the wrong decision, that a more meaningful life is just one choice away. If only you could figure out which one it is. And into this vacuum, this desperate search for a why, floods the only thing our modern world is truly efficient at producing: consumerism. When we can't find intrinsic meaning, we are sold extrinsic substitutes. We are told that purpose can be purchased, that the hole in your soul is shaped exactly like a new car, a luxury watch, or a skincare routine. Marketing no longer sells products, it sells identities. It sells the feeling of a meaningful life. It offers you the costume for the character you want to be, hoping you won't notice there's still no script. This creates a devastating cycle. We feel empty, so we buy something. The novelty provides a fleeting dopamine hit, a momentary sense of purpose. But it fades. The emptiness returns, only now it's accompanied by credit card debt and the clutter of a life filled with props instead of plot. We are consuming ourselves into a spiritual oblivion, mistaking the accumulation of things for the accumulation of a life. Layered on top of this is the great accelerant of our age: the internet. Specifically, the curated reality of social media. We scroll through an endless feed of other people's supposed purpose. We see the highlight reels, the perfectly framed moments of success, joy, and adventure. We see people who appear to have found their calling, their soulmate, their authentic self. And our blank page feels even more empty in comparison. It's a comparison engine that ceaselessly churns out evidence of our own inadequacy. The algorithm, designed not for our well-being but for our engagement, learns what makes us feel insecure, what makes us envious, what makes us despair, and it feeds us more of it. It can trap us in echo chambers of nihilism and outrage, confirming our growing suspicion that the world is meaningless and our individual efforts are futile. More insidiously, a new pressure has emerged: the pressure to commodify your own search for meaning. Your life is no longer just for living, it's for documenting. Your personal growth must be performed publicly. You're encouraged to build a personal brand, to turn your very identity into content. The meaningful story you're supposed to be writing for yourself becomes a narrative crafted for an audience of strangers. Your self-worth becomes tethered to likes, shares, and comments. You become the main character and the marketing department for your own life. A life that starts to feel less like a genuine experience and more like a long, exhausting piece of performance art. The distinction between who you are and who you pretend to be online dissolves, leaving you feeling like an imposter in your own existence. This isn't just a philosophical problem. This crisis of meaning has profound, measurable biological consequences. A life without a strong sense of purpose is a chronic stressor. The feeling of being adrift, of lacking a core reason to get up in the morning, keeps your sympathetic nervous system on high alert. It's a low-grade, constant threat. This means your body is marinating in stress hormones like cortisol. And as we know, chronic cortisol exposure corrodes the very structures of the brain responsible for mood regulation, memory, and executive function. It directly contributes to the onset of clinical depression and anxiety disorders. It's the invisible poison that weakens the system from the inside out. Furthermore, a lack of purpose dysregulates our dopamine pathways. Dopamine is the molecule of motivation. It's not about pleasure, it's about the pursuit of a reward. A healthy, purposeful life provides a steady stream of dopamine from long-term, meaningful pursuits. Mastering a skill, raising a family, contributing to a community, building a business. These activities provide a durable sense of accomplishment. But in a life devoid of this deep purpose, we seek out cheap, easy dopamine hits to fill the void. The notification on your phone, the sugar in your food, the thrill of an online purchase, the endless novelty of a content feed. We are training our brains to crave instant, effortless rewards. This makes the hard, patient work of building a meaningful life feel intolerably boring and difficult. We lose our capacity for delayed gratification, the very foundation upon which a purposeful life is built. This culminates in a psychological state known as learned helplessness. It's what happens when you believe that nothing you do matters. When your efforts seem to have no effect on your circumstances, you eventually stop trying. You learn to be helpless. This is the endpoint of the crisis of meaning. It's the quiet surrender. It's the voice that whispers, "Why bother?" This isn't laziness. It's a cognitive and emotional shutdown. It's the mind's tragic, self-protective response to a world that feels random, chaotic, and indifferent to your existence. It is the very essence of a deep and profound depression. We have built a society that is wealthier, safer, and more technologically advanced than any in human history. We've become masters of how to live, perfecting the logistics of comfort and convenience. But in the process, we seem to have forgotten why we are living at all. We have all the tools, all the freedom, all the information, but we're standing in the middle of the stage, under the full glare of the spotlight with no lines to say. So what happens when an entire culture starts to forget the plot? And more importantly, how do we begin to write it again? We start by recognizing that a new script cannot be handed down from on high. It won't be written by a politician, a tech CEO, or a celebrity. It won't be found in a viral post or a trending hashtag. The great forgotten story of who we are and what we're for is not something we find, something we build. And it's built from the ground up, starting inside the mind and heart of every single person who feels lost in the glare of that spotlight. Starts with you. The first step in rewriting the script is to reclaim your own narrative. For the last several decades, we've been outsourcing our life story. We've let advertisers tell us what a successful life looks like. We've let social media algorithms tell us what a happy life looks like. We've let the 24-hour news cycle tell us what a meaningful life is supposed to be about. We have become passive consumers of a story written for us by forces that do not have our best interests at heart. And we wonder why we feel like characters in someone else's play. To reclaim your narrative is to conduct a radical audit of your own life. It means sitting down in silence away from the noise and asking the terrifyingly simple questions. What do I actually value, not what am I told to value? What activities make me lose track of time, not what activities get the most likes? If money and social status were no object, who would I be? This isn't a one-time exercise. It's a practice. It's the practice of journaling, of meditation, of long walks without a podcast, of conversations that go deeper than the weather. It is the act of becoming the archaeologist of your own soul, digging through the layers of cultural sediment to find the bedrock of your own unique truth. Your story doesn't have to be grand or epic, just has to be yours. A life dedicated to raising a family with integrity, to mastering a craft, to serving your local community. These are the powerful, quiet stories that have propelled humanity for millennia. Finding that personal plotline is the first essential step. It is the anchor in the storm of modern meaninglessness. Once you have the beginnings of your own story, the second step is to find your cast. We are dying of loneliness in the most connected age in human history. We have mistaken connection for connectivity. We have 1,000 friends and no one to call at 3 a.m. The solution is not more connection. It is deeper connection. It is the intentional and sometimes difficult work of building a tribe. A real one. Not an online echo chamber, but a group of people who know you. Not the curated, filtered you, the real you. The you that is sometimes weak or scared or wrong. This means prioritizing face-to-face interaction over digital chatter. It means joining a club, a sports team, a church, a volunteer group. It means inviting people over for dinner, even if your house is a mess. It means being the one to reach out, to make the plan, to check in. And most importantly, it means practicing the lost art of vulnerability. True human connection is forged in shared struggle, not just shared success. It's admitting you don't have it all figured out. It's asking for help. It's listening, truly listening, to someone else's pain without immediately trying to fix it. Each one of these acts is a rebellion against the shallow, performative culture that is making us sick. Building a tribe of just a few trusted souls is a revolutionary act of mental self-preservation. These people become the co-authors of your story, the ones who hold you accountable and remind you of the plot when you forget. The third step is to log off and plug into reality. Our brains and bodies evolved over millions of years to interact with the physical world. For 99.9% of human history, our survival and our sense of purpose were directly tied to our physical environment. We read the weather, we tracked animals, we built shelters, we grew food. Our hands were our tools, and the earth was our home. In the span of a single generation, we have severed that connection. We live in climate-controlled boxes, staring at glowing rectangles, our food appearing in plastic containers, our hands typing and swiping instead of making and fixing. We are disembodied minds floating in a digital ether, and our nervous systems are screaming in protest. Rewriting the script means getting your hands dirty. It means re-engaging with the analog world. Go for a walk in the woods and leave your phone in the car. Learn to grow a tomato plant, even if it's just in a pot on your balcony. Learn to fix a leaky faucet, to bake bread from scratch, to build something, anything with your hands. Physical exertion is not just for burning calories. It is a form of therapy. It quiets the anxious, chattering mind and reminds you that you are a physical being in a physical world. This engagement with reality grounds you. It provides a tangible sense of accomplishment that no amount of digital praise can replicate. It reminds you that the world is not just a stream of information to be consumed, but a physical place to be experienced, shaped, and cared for. This is how we combat the sense of alienation and unreality that defines so much of modern life. Finally, the fourth and perhaps most difficult step. We must learn to seek out constructive discomfort. Our entire society is built on a promise of frictionless convenience. From one-click ordering to instant entertainment, we have been conditioned to believe that any form of struggle, boredom, or pain is a problem to be eliminated. We have optimized for comfort, and in doing so, we have accidentally engineered resilience, character, and meaning right out of our lives. We have become psychologically fragile because we are never forced to be strong. Rewriting the script means intentionally reintroducing healthy friction into your life. It means choosing the stairs instead of the elevator. It means reading a challenging book instead of scrolling through bite-sized content. It means having a difficult conversation instead of ghosting someone. It means committing to a long-term project that offers no immediate gratification. It means embracing the boredom that allows for creativity and self-reflection. We must stop treating struggle as a pathology. Hardship is not a bug in the human experience. It is a feature. It is the sandpaper that smooths our rough edges. It is the resistance that builds our spiritual and mental muscles. A life without challenge is a life without growth. By embracing voluntary hardship, we vaccinate ourselves against the inevitable, involuntary hardships of life. We build what psychologists call anti-fragility, the ability to not just withstand chaos, but to grow stronger from it. Reclaiming your narrative, building your tribe, engaging with reality, seeking constructive discomfort. None of these are easy fixes. They are not a 7-day plan to perfect mental health. They are a practice. They are a way of life. They are a quiet rebellion against a culture that is adrift. And this is how the new story gets written. It isn't a grand top-down revolution. It's a million tiny personal ones. Every time one person decides to define their own success, they create a permission slip for others to do the same. Every time one person builds a genuine community, they create a beacon of hope for the lonely. Every time someone chooses to create something real over consuming something digital, they cast a vote for a more grounded world. The staggering statistic that 1 in 5 of us is struggling is not a sign of individual failure. It is a collective distress signal. It is a warning light on the dashboard of our society, telling us that the way we are living is not working. The path we are on of hyper-individualism, digital distraction, and the relentless pursuit of comfort is a dead end. But the story is not over. We are not merely victims of our circumstances. We are the authors of what comes next. The stage is set, the audience is waiting, and the silence has become deafening. It's time to stop waiting for a script that will never come. It's time to look inward, to look at each other, and to begin word by word, action by action to write our own. It is time to find our voice and speak our lines.